King Kylie is back, and nobody cares. Back in the late 2010s, you couldn't escape the Kardashian Jenner influence. They were everywhere. On your TV, on Instagram, on your clothes, on your makeup, and even on the news with the most irrelevant news. And they were so overexposed that even back a segment of the population were getting tired of this exposure.
Good Friday, so I refuse to talk about the Kardashians today. You are on your own, Amy. I can't do it. I've had enough Kardashians. I can't take any more Kardashian stories on this show. This family, I'm sick of this family.
But do you think
I can't take it anymore.
Is there something psychological behind this?
It's a non-story. It's a non-story. We're talking about this family every freaking day on this show. Nobody cares about this family anymore. I've had enough. It's Friday. I want to have a good Friday. I don't want to talk about the Kardashians.
Even though the late 2000s and the early 2010s belonged to Kim and her sisters to a lesser extent, the mid and late 2010s were entirely reigned by Kylie, starting with their appearances in social media like Instagram and the now defunct Vine. Being the latter one where we could see a more laid-back fun side of her that actually captured the attention of people on the internet. In pop culture, we've had many people who we idolize for very different reasons. Talents, look, or the obsession we have with their lifestyle. In Kylie's case, being the youngest one in a clan of reality TV family, it was the latter one. She didn't do anything special. She was just being her and maybe even encouraged to be more out there than anyone in her family. She was just a teenage girl. Pretty, popular, and rich. That's the life we all aspired to have, and that made her interesting in our eyes. She was spontaneous, free, and a little kooky, as much as a popular girl can be. And Kylie wasn't the only one having this persona in social media, but she was the one who had a mastermind of marketing behind her mom, Kris Jenner.
Good job, Kylie. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Kris has the amazing talent for connecting and marketing her daughters as a way to obtain revenue from their incessant exposure. For Kris Jenner, fame is not a family business. Her family is a business, and she has known how to exactly market each one of them, or at least the ones that have more charm. Thanks to Kris's connections, Kylie became the poster child of every trend in the 2010s, from the blue balayage to Snapchat filters, and let's not forget the one that put her in the map, the lip filler that she denied for so long, and the following KYLIE Jenner challenge. This obsession about her lips and her image eventually led her to become the face of her own makeup company, KYLIE Cosmetics, what would eventually expand into different companies associated with her like Kylie Skin, Kylie Swim, and Kylie Baby, but not with the same success that KYLIE Cosmetics has. She became an it girl, but in a quite forceful way. The plan to extend the Kardashians' prevalence into the 2010s has worked, which is a situation that doesn't seem to be having the same effect now in 2025. Kylie Jenner is now a mom of two. A couple of years ago was named a self-made billionaire, only to have the title taken out by a revision of her company's documents, and let's face it, she was not self-made at all. And dating one of the most prominent actors of our generation, Timothée Chalamet. She seems to be on top of the world right now. However, it's evident that the influence and the cultural relevance that not only Kylie but her entire family had back in the 2000s and the 2010s is rapidly falling down, even when they desperately want to cling to it. And to be honest, this is something that they should have seen coming if they paid attention to the cultural climate right after the pandemic. Kylie has tried at least 3 times to bring back her King Kylie era through different posts related to the fashion she used to wear back then, a small poll asking people what they would want back from that era, and of course the most recent ad they uploaded to YouTube. This has been observed by many viewers who rightfully have accused her of being obsessed with her younger self. And now Kylie is mad that her attempted comeback hasn't worked, and there are many good reasons as to why this hasn't happened. First, it's not 2015 anymore, and no amount of nostalgia-driven obsession with the past is gonna do it. Unless Kylie has the power to bring back 2015 grocery prices to a 2025 world, but she won't do that. Not because she can't, but because it doesn't serve her. Anyway, the fact that we as a collective are thinking about King Kylie as a product of a 2010s environment says a lot about what Kylie Jenner was at the moment, and it says even more about what she no longer is. Kylie in 2015 was aspirational. She was pretty, had a nice, albeit modified body, was a trendsetter, dated the hottest people out there, and was basically living the life most of us wanted to have. And being aspirational in the era where Instagram and Snapchat were the bomb was the biggest appeal. Having an open window into the celebrity's life made us feel that we were somehow part of their clique. In 2025, however, in a post-pandemic world, this sort of shallow openness stopped becoming welcoming and aspirational and started being seen as elitist and braggy. Lots of the people who in 2015 were teenagers and in their early 20s started to realize that they were further from belonging to Kylie's circle and closer to being their servants. And this disconnect has led us to be more conscious of how unbalanced the scale of wealth was. We no longer want to be Kylie. I mean, we do want to be her, but in the sense that the privilege she has could solve a lot of our main concerns of daily life. We no longer want to buy what she has or what she's selling to us. Most people wouldn't want to either because they can't or because now people are aware of how powerful their attention and their decisions they make with their money are. And on that note, it's worth mentioning that since we're becoming more conscious of how we spend our money, we want to do it in a way that we get the most benefit from what we're purchasing. And the Kardashians in general, but Kylie in particular, has a quite negative trend on this matter. From plagiarism accusations on her advertising to the terrible quality that all her products have, it's quite evident that this behavior wasn't going to fly well with the more environmentally conscious world of 2025. It's quite evident that they didn't release products for the sake of the people who admire them, but quite the opposite. They did it to predate on their fans and capitalize on the admiration they got from them, while at the same time looking for ways to position themselves as above us quote-unquote peasants. Second, lack of substance. The Kardashians weren't pop culture icons. They were pop culture vultures, and Kylie is not the exception. Kylie didn't create any of the trends she benefited from. At best, she was actually confident and effortlessly adapting her appearance to the trends that were available at the time, and at worst, she and her whole family were capitalizing on cultural appropriation and trends already available in the Black community and claiming them to be theirs. Everything she wore back when she was King Kylie was 2015 fashion trends combined with the Fashion Nova core the Kardashians have been popular for almost since the beginning. And there's no better explanation for this than the way all of them, including Kylie, have used their bodies to adapt to the cultural climate. Back in the 2010s, they were all voluptuous, curvy, and they all had something done. Bigger boobs, BBLs, bigger lips, smaller nose, and that type of appearance was basically the trend for the better part of the decade. Now that being slim is back on trend, they are all doing the same. They have lost weight, lost their BBLs, and are trying to appeal and adapt to the cultural climate without actually getting to the bottom of what this implies for them. This situation only emphasizes what I said before about Kylie specifically. They didn't create trends, they took them and marketed them to the public as theirs, so basically they don't have any depth or core identity that is not related to what they have, but what they are trying to sell you. Besides the vocal fry, their famous dating history, and a couple of other things that, to be honest, I'm not familiar with, but I'm far from being the only one.
Have you ever watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians? I feel like I know the answer.
They don't have too much to offer because they either have curated their personality to create distance or avoid criticism, or they simply don't have any personality at all. With platforms like TikTok, people are craving authentic connection and more character, and we have seen it with the people that has become famous in recent years. They no longer have to have the opulent lifestyle of a celebrity because they carry some sort of richness inside. They're funny, they're creative, or they just have that spark that makes you want to know more about them. We want to be around them not because of what they have, but because of who they are. And unfortunately, in that area, Kylie has not much to give. If she has any personality, it's not showing up, and what's showing up to people is distance and a feeling of superiority against common people. They may have the power to call their friends and ask them to post them everywhere, but they lack substance to make anything happen in 2025. They could have not lost as many followers, but the engagement they have with people is not organic or fulfilling for them or for us. Long gone are the days we wanted to be part of their group, and now we're questioning how their lifestyle hasn't changed that much when most people are still fighting to get bills paid. Back in 2014, she was being carefree, spontaneous, and having fun moments with her friends. And yes, her behavior was definitely suffering from the popular girl humor everybody's criticizing so much these days, but she was sort of being herself. A little kooky, a little weird, but very on brand with what we call today millennial humor. And that allowed her her own version of freedom. But now she's a mother, and unlike many people that once idolized her, she still has the advantages to keep her life as it was without much change. She has access to nannies, personal cooks, and a wide range of assistants, and this difference between her and her fans only creates a bigger division between the common folk and her, which only makes her less relatable and more of a target for resentment. She can't revive King Kylie. It's impossible knowing that not only her life has changed, but the socio-political climate of the world has changed too. We've all have grown up and grown old. And her comeback as King Kylie is evidently a calculated move that is preventing the death of relevance of the Kardashian Jenner clan. This only confirms what we all knew from the beginning, but their biggest fear. Kylie and her sisters have an expiration date. It's just being delayed by calculated but transparent moves and stunts that people are getting tired of, and instead of reacting with an overwhelming love or overwhelming hate, they've just become indifferent instead. I don't think there's anything that can revive back what the Kardashians were back in 2007 to 2019, because her relevance was built on the values of that era. Ostentatious, aspirational displays of wealth that if it were done today would only remind us of the wealth gap that is making the difference between classes bigger and more frustrating. The spirit of the common folk is tired and looking at a reality that needs more than 2 Sephora purchases to be well rested and rebuilt, and King Kylie is not gonna help us do that. If anything, the attempt to bring it back would only anger people that are asking the greed and shallowness of this family to finally go away. We're in a period in time that we can identify quickly that the Kardashians need us more than we need them. They need our attention, our money, and the relevance that we give them, and we're slowly identifying the power that our decisions and our attention has over pop culture and over the world in general. We're making financial and ethical decisions that are less about idolizing a public figure that doesn't give anything in return, and more about how we can reshape the way our world is working in general. And they wouldn't even try to fit in this change, because it requires them to step up and reject everything that has created their empire and what once made them relevant. So yeah, it's understandable that she wants to remember the past and celebrate who she has become thanks to it. But asking the world in general to welcome a past trend into a completely different landscape, it's not only tone deaf, but it's incredibly sad too. Because this is basically telling us that Kylie and her family are not only clinging on to a past that doesn't exist anymore, but they're delaying a future that they were clearly not prepared for. If you have any opinions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. And once again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Bye bye!